warned your whole life. Cracking your knuckles will give you arthritis. Eating eggs will clog your arteries. Sitting too close to the TV will ruin your eyesight. Coffee will stunt your growth. Shaving will make your hair grow back thicker. Every generation has these warnings. Parents pass them down. Teachers reinforce them. Doctors repeat them. And we all just accept them. But here's the truth that most people refuse to accept. Many of the things we've been warned about for decades, science has thoroughly debunked them. Today, we're looking at 10 things experts warned us about that turned out to be completely harmless. Some of these warnings have been around for so long, you might still believe them. Others, you've already dismissed, but never knew why the myth existed in the first place. Let's start with number 10. Number 10, cracking your knuckles. Stop cracking your knuckles. You're going to get arthritis. How many times have you heard that? Your mom probably said it. Your doctor might have warned you. There's this widespread certainty that cracking your knuckles is a path to joint damage and arthritis. Everyone knows this is true. The problem? It's not. Here's what's actually happening when you crack your knuckles. Inside your joints, there's a fluid called synovial fluid that lubricates everything and keeps it moving smoothly. When you stretch or bend your joint suddenly, the pressure in that fluid drops. Gas bubbles that were dissolved in the fluid come out of solution. They form and immediately burst. That popping sound? It's the sound of tiny bubbles forming and collapsing. It's literally the same thing that happens when you open a can of soda and hear the fizz. It is not your bones grinding together. It is not joint damage happening. It is just bubbles. For decades, scientists studied this myth. They followed people who cracked their knuckles every single day for years and compared them to people who never cracked their knuckles. No difference in arthritis rates, no difference in joint damage, no difference in inflammation. The most famous study was conducted by a doctor named Donald L. Unger. For over 50 years, he deliberately cracked the knuckles on only his left hand while leaving his right hand alone. He wanted to see if his left hand would develop arthritis differently. Result? By the end of his experiment, there was zero difference between his two hands. No increased arthritis on the cracking side. Nothing. Organizations like Harvard Health, Johns Hopkins, and the Mayo Clinic all confirm the same thing. Cracking your knuckles is harmless. So why does this myth persist? It persists because it feels wrong. The cracking sound is violent. It seems like damage. Our brains associate loud joint noises with injury, so we assume injury must be occurring. But your brain is wrong about this one. The only real downside to cracking your knuckles? People around you get annoyed. That's it. Number 9, reading in dim light. You'll ruin your eyes reading in the dark. Parents have been saying this forever. Teachers tell students not to read by lamplight. There's this deep cultural belief that your eyesight will degrade if you read in anything less than perfect lighting. But here's the thing. Your eyes are tougher than you think. Reading in dim light is uncomfortable. It's harder to focus. Your eyes have to work a bit harder. But does that damage your vision? No. Your eye is not made of delicate glass that shatters under strain. It's made of muscle, and muscles get stronger with use. Reading in dim light might give you temporary eye strain or a headache. Your eyes might feel tired. But that fatigue is temporary. Rest your eyes, and they recover completely. The myth probably started as a reasonable rule of thumb. You should read in good lighting for comfort. But somewhere along the way, comfort got confused with safety. Uncomfortable became dangerous. Ophthalmologists worldwide confirm reading in dim light will not give you permanent vision problems. It will not degrade your eyesight. It might make you uncomfortable, but it won't hurt you. Now, there are things that legitimately damage eyesight. UV exposure without protection, untreated diabetes, severe eye injuries, genetic conditions. But squinting in lamplight? Nope. Your eyes are designed to handle a wide range of lighting conditions. They've been doing it since humans invented fire and gathered around it in the dark. Number 8, swallowing gum. If you swallow gum, it'll stay in your stomach for 7 years. This one is so iconic that it's practically a childhood rite of passage. Every kid hears it. Most kids accidentally swallow gum at some point and then panic. Will it sit in your stomach for 7 years? Absolutely not. Here's what actually happens when you swallow gum. Your digestive system doesn't care if something is gum or food. If you swallow it goes down your esophagus, into your stomach, through your small intestine, and out through your colon. Gum is indigestible, meaning your body can't break it down and absorb it. So it just passes through. You'll see it come out the other end within a few days, just like everything else you eat that your body can't digest. like seeds, corn kernels, or fiber. It doesn't stick to your stomach walls. It doesn't harden into a blockage, unless you swallow an absurdly massive amount, which is physically impossible in a normal scenario. It just travels through your digestive tract and leaves. Gastroenterologists have confirmed this repeatedly. Kids have been swallowing gum for generations. If it actually stayed in your stomach for 7 years, we'd see a massive health crisis. We don't. So why was this myth invented? It was probably created as a deterrent, a scare tactic to keep kids from swallowing gum, which, fair, they shouldn't be doing. But like many parent warnings, the mechanism was exaggerated into something that sounds scarier than reality. Now, you shouldn't make a habit of swallowing gum. It's not food. It serves no nutritional purpose. But accidentally swallowing gum once in a while, completely harmless. Number 7, sugar making kids hyperactive. Give him candy and he'll bounce off the walls. Parents have repeated this for decades. Teachers warn about sugar crashes. Birthday parties are seen as chaos waiting to happen when sweets are involved. The assumption is so universal that we take it as fact. Sugar makes kids hyperactive, except it doesn't. Multiple controlled studies have tested this. Kids are given sugar or a placebo, a fake treatment. Researchers then measure activity levels, attention, behavior, everything. The results are consistent. Sugar does not increase hyperactivity in children. The same amount of sugar that causes chaos at a birthday party doesn't actually change the kid's behavior at all. So why does it seem like sugar makes kids hyper? It's called the expectancy effect. Parents expect sugar to make kids hyper, so they watch for signs of hyperactivity. When the kid runs around, which kids do normally, the parent interprets it as sugar-induced hyperactivity. The kid picks up on the parent's expectation and often acts more excited because there's more attention and energy in the room. Also, consider the context. Kids eat lots of sugar at parties, holidays, and exciting events. Of course, they're excited. They're surrounded by other kids, games, and stimulation. It's not the sugar, it's the situation. Pediatricians, neurologists, and nutritionists all agree sugar does not cause hyperactivity in children. What sugar can do? Provide quick energy, which is just energy, not hyperactivity. Cause tooth decay, contribute to weight gain and metabolic issues over time. Spike and crash blood sugar. But a spike in actual activity and loss of behavioral control, that's not a sugar effect. That's a context effect mixed with parental expectation. Number 6, sleeping on your back causing nightmares. Don't sleep on your back or you'll have nightmares. This one's interesting because it's been around forever, and it's weirdly specific. The myth says that sleeping on your back traps your soul or prevents proper dreaming or causes the brain to activate in a way that produces nightmares. In reality, the position you sleep in has almost nothing to do with whether you have nightmares. Nightmares are caused by stress and anxiety, trauma, sleep deprivation, certain medications, sleep disorders, psychological issues, sleep position, not on that list. Now, sleeping on your back might affect your sleep quality for other reasons. Some people snore more on their backs. Some people experience acid reflux more easily. Some people feel less comfortable. But the actual content of your dreams, whether they're pleasant or nightmarish, is not determined by which side you're lying on. Neuroscientists who study sleep and dreaming confirm this. Your sleep position doesn't activate different parts of your brain in a way that changes dream content. So where did this myth come from? Probably from the fact that sleeping on your back is less common in many cultures, and anything unusual gets blamed for unusual things, like bad dreams. Or it could be rooted in old folklore about the soul leaving the body, which again isn't how any of this works. The truth is, sleep position is mostly about personal comfort and whether it works for your body's health. Dream content? That's determined by your psychology, stress, and sleep stage, not your alignment. Number 5, shaving, making hair grow back thicker. This myth is so persistent that millions of people believe it. Women are especially targeted by this myth. It's used to convince them not to shave their legs or underarms. Men use it to justify not shaving their beards. The claim, if you shave, hair grows back thicker, darker, and coarser. Dermatologists have measured this repeatedly. The hair that grows back is exactly the same thickness, color, and texture as before. So why does it seem thicker? 3 reasons. First, the blunt edge. When you cut hair with a razor, you create a blunt edge instead of the natural tapered point. A blunt edge can feel coarser to the touch. but the hair itself hasn't changed. Just the edge you're feeling. Second, the angle of regrowth. New hair growing in lies flat against the skin at first. Once it breaks through the surface and grows longer, it stands up at an angle, making it appear darker and more prominent. That's just how new hair looks before it's long enough to bend and flatten. Third, psychological bias. You expect thicker hair after shaving, so you perceive it as thicker. You're more aware of it because you just shaved, so it seems more noticeable. The actual hair growing back is identical to the hair you just cut. Waxing, on the other hand, removes hair from the root, which is why regrowth after waxing takes longer and feels finer, because you're dealing with new hair that hasn't had time to grow and potentially become damaged. But shaving? Your hair is not thicker afterward. It just looks and feels different for a week or two until it settles down. Number 4, eating before swimming. Don't swim for 30 minutes after eating, or you'll get a cramp and drown. This warning has been repeated so many times that it's practically law at summer camps. Kids eat lunch, then have to wait before going swimming. The logic seems sound. Blood is diverted to digestion, leaving less for muscles, causing cramps, leading to drowning. But here's the problem with that logic. It's not accurate. Your body is capable of digesting food and supplying blood to your muscles at the same time. You don't have a limited blood supply that forces you to choose. Yes, blood does go to your digestive system when you eat, but your body has enough blood to do multiple things simultaneously. That's kind of its whole job. Cramps don't happen because of post-meal swimming. Cramps happen because of dehydration, muscle fatigue, electrolyte imbalances, or muscle issues. Swimming shortly after a large meal might make you feel uncomfortable. Your stomach might feel full and heavy. You might feel sluggish. But will you get a dangerous cramp that causes you to drown? No. Now, is it smart to eat a massive meal and then immediately do intense exercise? Not particularly. You might feel uncomfortable. You might get an ache. But at normal swimming speeds and with normal portions, there's no danger. Lifeguards and swim instructors still repeat this warning, but it's not based on actual medical risk. Number 3, caffeine. Stunting growth. Don't drink coffee or you won't grow tall. This warning specifically targets teenagers and young people. Parents tell kids caffeine will stunt their growth, so caffeine becomes associated with stopping you from reaching your potential height. But caffeine doesn't stunt growth. Your height is determined by genetics, nutrition, sleep quality, overall health hormones, especially growth hormone and thyroid. Caffeine affects none of these mechanisms. Caffeine is a stimulant that increases alertness by blocking adenosine receptors in the brain. It doesn't interact with growth hormone production. It doesn't affect bone growth plates. It doesn't interfere with nutrition or sleep in a way that permanently stunts growth. Now, if someone drinks so much caffeine that it severely disrupts their sleep every night, and this goes on for years, then yes, chronic sleep deprivation could theoretically affect growth. But that's the sleep deprivation doing the damage, not the caffeine itself. Millions of people in countries where coffee consumption is high, Nordic countries, Italy, etc., grow to normal heights. Countries with high coffee consumption don't have populations that are shorter than average. Your height was basically determined the moment you were born. Caffeine won't change it. This myth probably persisted because caffeine was seen as a grown-up substance, so restricting it from kids was culturally reinforced. Eventually, people invented a reason why kids shouldn't have it: growth stunting. Number 2, cracking your back. Stop cracking your back! You'll get spine problems. People who crack their backs often get the same warning as people who crack their knuckles. The fear is that constant cracking will loosen the spine, damage discs, or cause arthritis. Again, this is based on misunderstanding what's actually happening. When you crack your back, whether by twisting or using a device, you're creating a pressure change that releases gas bubbles in the synovial fluid around your spine joints. The same mechanism as knuckle cracking. The popping sound is bubbles, not damage. Now here's the nuance: aggressively or repeatedly forcing. Your spine to crack in extreme positions might irritate tissues. If you have a spine condition, self-adjusting could potentially cause problems. But normal back cracking, when you twist and hear a pop, doesn't cause arthritis, degeneration, or long-term damage in healthy individuals. Chiropractors do spinal adjustments for millions of people, and when done properly by professionals, these adjustments don't cause the harm people fear. Do regular chiropractic visits have strong scientific evidence for effectiveness beyond placebo? That's debatable. But does the cracking itself damage your spine? Not in healthy people. The myth persists because the spine is scary. It's your central nervous system. People assume any weird sound means danger, but your body is more resilient than the warnings suggest. Number 1, microwaves. Making food radioactive. This is one of the biggest myths about modern technology. Microwaves emit radiation that makes your food radioactive. First, let's clarify what radiation even means. Microwaves use non-ionizing radiation, electromagnetic waves that don't have enough energy to remove electrons from atoms. That's fundamentally different from ionizing radiation, like X-rays or nuclear radiation, that actually changes the atomic structure of matter and can make things radioactive. Microwave radiation just makes molecules vibrate, creating heat. It doesn't change the food at the atomic level. It doesn't make the food radioactive. After microwaving, the food has no residual radiation. It's not hot in any way other than temperature-wise. In fact, microwaving is one of the safest cooking methods because it uses non-ionizing radiation. It's contained within the microwave. The food is not exposed to this radiation after cooking stops. Compare that to grilling, creates potentially carcinogenic compounds through high heat. Deep frying creates oxidative stress and may produce harmful compounds. Cooking at very high temperatures can create acrylamide and other compounds. Microwaves actually preserve more nutrients than some other cooking methods because they cook quickly and with less liquid loss. The myth probably started because radiation is a scary word. People heard microwave radiation and thought it was the same as nuclear radiation. It's not. The US FDA has verified that properly functioning microwaves are safe. The radiation doesn't escape. The food isn't transformed into something harmful. But because it's invisible and the word radiation is involved, people still fear it decades later. So we've covered 10 things we've been warned about our entire lives: cracking your knuckles, reading in dim light, swallowing gum sugar, making kids hyper, sleeping on your back, causing nightmares, shaving making hair thicker, eating before swimming, caffeine stunting growth, cracking your back, microwaves, making food radioactive. Some of these warnings have been around for generations. Your grandparents heard them. Your parents heard them. You probably believed them without question. But when scientists actually tested them, really tested them with controls and data, they all failed. So why do these myths persist? There are several reasons. First, the human brain loves patterns and shortcuts. If something seems dangerous, we assume it is dangerous. Cracking sounds like damage. Radiation sounds scary, so we believe the warnings without verification. Second, authority figures reinforce them. If a parent says something is dangerous, or a teacher, or a doctor, it gains credibility. We don't question it, we just repeat it to the next generation. Third, the warnings usually contain a kernel of truth that gets exaggerated. Reading in dim light is uncomfortable, that's true, so people added, and it damages your eyes, to make the warning stronger. Sugar does give you energy, that's true, so people said, it makes kids hyper to justify limiting it. Fourth, we're pattern-seeking creatures who are afraid of the unknown. When something seems unusual, cracking joints, eating before swimming, radiation, our brains treat it as a threat until proven otherwise. The bigger lesson here, just because something has been repeated your whole life doesn't make it true. Just because an authority figure told you something doesn't make it accurate. Just because something seems dangerous doesn't mean it is dangerous. The world is full of warnings that sound official, feel true, and turn out to be completely wrong. Some of these myths are harmless. They just make people slightly inconvenienced, like waiting 30 minutes after eating to swim. But others have real consequences. People avoid beneficial things. People develop unnecessary anxiety. People spend money on products to prevent non-existent harms. The antidote to this? Curiosity. Ask why instead of just accepting the warning. Look for actual evidence instead of just repeating what you've been told. Question authority respectfully instead of assuming experts always know. Because here's what's really true. Scientists, experts, and the scientific method aren't perfect, but they're far more reliable than folklore, repetition, and fear. When there's a gap between what you've been told your whole life and what actual research shows, the research is usually worth paying attention to. Thanks for watching. If this helped you question a warning you've believed your whole life, smash that like button, subscribe for more myth busting, and tell me in the comments, which of these myths did you believe until right now? And what's a warning you've heard your whole life that you're now wondering about?